The Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast is dedicated to all things Horus Heresy. This podcast delves into the grimdark universe where Primarchs clash, legions rise, and loyalties fracture faster than a Land Raider's track. But it's not just about the lore of the Horus Heresy. The Accountabilibuddies also explore the gaming side of things, from painting and modeling tips to product reviews and ideas to help you in your hobby. So, whether you're a seasoned Forge World veteran or a fresh-faced scout, this podcast is your Vox channel to the galaxy. Expect discussions on lore, modeling, gaming, and maybe even the shenanigans that your hosts somehow seem to find their way into. Remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there are only two things you can count on: Heresy and your trusty Accountabilibuddies.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast. I am one of your hosts, and my name, as always, is Duncan. And tonight I'm joined by my regular friends.
Brian.
Somewhere around here.
Jack.
And John.
And we've got our special guest
Irregular
tonight.
friend?
Yes, our irregular friend.
It's
Regularly
Chris,
irregular?
everybody.
The mighty Chris from down in Bama Heresy. And we've got a whole bunch of fun tonight for episode 120. But before we get to anything special, let's go ahead and throw the sponsors and give a shout out to our patrons.
Do you love resin bases? Then go to our sponsor Elric Hobbies for all of your basing and basing accessory needs. Use code HeresyABB at checkout for a discount. Legendary Monument Hobbies. Monument Hobbies is a one-stop shop for all of your painting needs. Use code HeresyABB at checkout for a 5% discount on your purchase. Pop Goes the Monkey. Find maker of third-party accessory bits of arms, legs, backpacks, and more, where you can get 10% off your first order over $125 with code HeresyABB at checkout.
Right, that done. Thank you all for everything you do for us. We really greatly appreciate it. And as always, let's go ahead and start with the hobby. What we got hobby done-wise this week. John, as is tradition, take us away, sir.
Okay, y'all better get comfortable because we're 10 days from Adepticon at time of recording, and I got a lot of crap to do. So I started getting into it. So first off, the Serpentor building was primed last week when we recorded, and so this week I went through with an airbrush and did all the gray highlights to make it look like the rest of the City Fight buildings. And then I mixed up the mission model colors that I hate, that I use on all my Cobra bases, and did the kind of flagstone spot colors. Then went through and did the multiple different washes that I use on flagstones all over them. Also did the brown that I kind of used for my rebel colors in the bases. So basically the Serpentor building is also going to be my display base whenever we're not doing giant games that require a 20-pound building to be played with. So it's ready to go. Next, I went ahead and ran an event yesterday, just our usual kind of monthly third weekend of the month at Dallas Games Marathon. We had 8 people show up, and of those 8, 3 were brand new people. So we had a blast kind of running through the last of the unscripted events. Last time we talked about how we're going to script the things going forward, and everyone said they're looking forward to how that's going to turn out and what that's going to be like. But while I was running that event, I was able to build the Death Ray Designs building set that we're going to be raffling off at Adepticon. And then when I got home from the event, I was able to go ahead and get it primed and everything set out to dry so that it can be used for get painted this week and ready for Adepticon to come up with me there. Today, before the show, I went through and finalized all of the steps and all the pieces for the fountain tile for the Memorial Garden and got that all sorted out. And it is gigantic. It took a lot of custom cutting and a bunch of different pieces and a bunch of different foam accessories and gluing myself to it over and over because the only foam super glue I have is the super liquidy kind, and that's the kind that if you look at it wrong, it's going to tip over and glue you to everything you own. But it is finally almost all assembled, and at least it's dry fit, and I know that the project looks like it should outside of my head, so I can finally at least visualize it. For the secret Squirrel Adepticon stuff that we'll be talking about next episode, so that everyone can kind of get an example of what it's going to be like on their drive up. I got all that stuff painted and sealed, so I can start washing it and finishing the touches coming into this week. And looking around my room to see if there's anything else that I've been up to. I think that's basically it. I've got the guys were supposed to come over last weekend, but it kind of rained, and then this weekend was the Dallas Games Marathon. But Will and a couple others locally have said they're going to come over and try to help me out, finish some stuff up. But for the most part, the main thing I've only got to finish for Adepticon is the memorial table stuff, kind of finishing off the Serpentor building, some spot colors on all the rest of the city fight stuff, and obviously painting the giveaway table. But for the most part, yeah, I'm doing pretty good for timing wise. I think I'm going to have everything done in time. What about you, Brian?
I have done a little bit more work on my Sakarans. I got the hulls base coated, primed white. I've been working away on the turrets and trying to figure out how to do my conversion to make them into Gatling guns versus the regular autocannons. Outside of that, that's the extent of my hobby progress. How about you, Mr. Bergeron, our wonderful guest?
I am right now and have been all week when I am not at work painting everybody else's stuff, cranking on my Warhounds for Adepticon. I got woefully behind, as I think everybody does, and I have become the example of the contractor whose wife is always yelling that her bathroom needs to be redone as he's redoing everybody else's bathrooms. So, but I'm trying to get caught back up. So I got 3 or 6 jet bikes done today, decaled. Those were the long pole, the tent, and I am cranking through trim on Mark III infantry as we speak. That's about
Wonderful.
it.
Very,
Next,
very good, sir.
Jack.
What? Oh, me? I
just
see.
wanted to hear you say you didn't do anything.
No, I did stuff. I printed
Oh,
off
Jack, you're awesome.
5,000 boat pistols, or 500 boat pistols, not 5,000. I printed off 30 or 40 jetpacks. I put together a storm hammer, blade, sickle, doom, scythe, VW bug. And then I got done the other stuff that I can't talk about because it's Fight Club. And I played a game for the first time in 360 days. Duncan?
That is awesome.
Crazy.
Well, let's see here. The World Eaters for myself are ready to go for Adepticon. I have 2 more Land Raiders I can work on that I've been sort of working on, but they are not absolutely required for anything I'm playing at Adepticon, so I'm likely not even going to bring them. But I'm still working on them just so I can have them off the table. So that's the entire army for myself for a 3K game, and for both my half and Jack's half of the teams event and the 4K team event. And that's all done. Now I've been plotting out what I'm going to get done for my daughter's army. Came up with an army list for that that the Wednesday night hobby hangout guys helped me crunch through. That seems like something that's going to have an awful lot of irons in the fire and things that need to get done and pushed forward on to be able to make work. But it's got a lot of moving parts. But I think we've come up with something that's workable, something that's going to be fun, and something that's going to be fluffy enough to get her entertained into playing Heresy properly, at least in this edition. And I also got a game in this week. In fact, I got a game in today. Mine was not the first game in 360 days, but it was an important game to help refresh my good friend Jack with how to actually play the game. Jack, how'd that game go?
It was fine. Yeah, I did stuff. I moved stuff around. Um, I didn't shoot stuff basically until, I don't know, turn 4, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Was
is it like
there,
Adepticon all over again?
Was there a wall of rampagers by chance involved?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of
Yeah.
bad touch involving. Yeah, yeah. On the bright side, I know how to play the army now for the team games.
That's a good thing.
That's always a plus.
And in answer, Chris, yeah, this is absolutely a Duncan list, and it's similar in style to how last year went, except both of us are playing my role, or both of us are playing Jack's role, where he doesn't shoot anything and just gets an in combat.
Mm. But it sounds like they move a little bit faster than an all Terminator list that's walking without any ranged weapons.
Yes.
Well, I think this one has Land Raiders, correct?
As
A couple Land Raiders.
Just a couple.
a few.
Yeah, Jack had 3 on the table at 1,500.
Well, then why weren't you shooting to the 4th round? Don't they have guns?
They were
Well,
delivering dudes and getting across the table.
Oh, that's right. I forget. I get so spoiled playing Death Guard.
Remember the Ryan Kimmel rant? Spartans aren't there to shoot las cannons. Spartans are there to drop off Terminators.
Yeah.
And cannons.
Yeah, they did get they managed to survive the assault cannon fire. Yeah. I think at the end of the game, when my last 2 guys got shot off by all these massed las cannons, I had killed almost a full squad of rampagers. Almost. I think.
yeah. Yeah, one squad was down to 1 guy, another squad was down to 2 guys, and the third squad was fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So total, I had killed almost a whole squad. Or I had actually killed a whole squad plus, but not by much. So yeah, that was my game today. I think that's really all that I've done this week, but it counts. Jamie, since you're here, what have you done this week, sir?
Yeah. Well, between dodging tornadoes, having multiple soccer practices, I have built my 3rd Land Raider to go with 3 Land Raiders and 2 Spartans so far. And I have basically been printing nonstop, except yesterday when I was expecting to lose power, and I didn't. So,
Are you secretly 3 Land Raiders in a trench coat?
Yeah, 3 Land Raiders and a trench coat. Yeah, no, 3 Land Raiders. I'll end up doing 2 more Spartans, and I think another 3 Predators, and then other than like crazy big stuff, I'm done tanks wise. I think maybe some like artillery stuff, but nothing. I mean, like normal tanks. That's that I would actually play. That's about it. Because yeah, Iron Breakthrough or whatever, and then just being able to have big transports to go along with the 11 plus rhinos that I have. So, anyways,
Just come out with something else.
say again.
At least till they come out with something else.
Till they come out with something else. I mean, I want to get a Mastodon or print a Mastodon, but it's not high on my priorities, and I want to kind of get one of each one of the super heavy Bane variants, which I have the big gun one, not the what is it, Fashel or whatever you call it, the turbo laser destroyer volcano cannon thing. My Night Lords, I have the Galv that's already built and painted, but Dark Angels, I don't have any of them yet. So, but I'll end up, before starting on any of that stuff, I'll end up working on Breachers and Terminators. So, anyways, who hasn't gone? Because I kind of stepped in the middle.
You are the last
You're the
one, sir.
last.
Oh, well, yay me.
Right then. John, what's new this week that we haven't heard about?
Okay, so this week in pre-orders, I'm gonna sadly say that not a ton happened. All of the Necromunda rain sets that we kind of talked about before that have module dropped, and so did the Zone Mortalis Underhive, Ruined Underhive sector. The Fortified Hab module is, I'm going to say batshit insane cost-wise. So the original Hab modules were always kind of priced a little high in most people's opinions for $80. This one they added on a couple of guns and increased the cost to $112. So that's a little high. Also, they're online only, so your local game store can't even carry them. It'll be a curious thing to see if maybe they separate the through out or something happens there, but don't know what's going on with that. On the other hand, the Zone Mortalis Ruined Underhive sector, which is just 3 boxes of the Ruined Zone Mortalis set, is only 170, whereas the single box is 85. So you're basically getting 1 box for free if you buy these the 3-pack. So odd again. That one's also online exclusive, so you won't be getting any local discounts or anything like that. So
Yeah.
coming up for pre-orders next week is the Kill Team stuff we talked about a while ago. So that's going to be the Cornate Jackal box versus the
Priest.
I guess Priest and a whole bunch of other stuff. Not a ton of new stuff coming out that's really Heresy related. Next week anyway. Heresy Thursday, we got a preview for the Spirix and Megara Titanicus Scale Knights. So they're coming out in the future. It's going to be a 4-pack box with the ability to build 4 of any type of knight you want, which is actually a complete surprise to me, because usually with those little knights, they force you to build 1 of each. And the other thing that's going to be cool is it comes with the Titanicus console, so you'll be able to play both games with this box. Hopefully it'll also be a pretty good discount, because when they came out from Forge World, you got 1 of each for something like $60-$70. So it was not cheap to get into. The other kind of announcement we got this week was Space Marine 3 is officially in development.
Yeah.
Have we even had Space Marine 2 out for 6 months at this point?
Not really. We are, so the thing that most of my buddies that I played Space Marine 1 with that are waiting for is Horde mode.
Yeah.
That was probably the most popular thing from Space Marine 1, and for some reason it wasn't part of launch.
Well, Space Marine 1, that remember
it
for a
was,
launch, you got the eventually if you killed enough crap, it became a dreadnought.
well, there was another game mode where it was like each side would randomly unlock a dreadnought, and then you would go and fight. But yeah, there was like other things like that. The problem is, because those were add-ons and THQ went out of business, it's nearly impossible to find actual Dreadnought games now,
Yeah.
because you had to have bought it before THQ went out of business. With the way DLCs work. So I don't know. They still have a roadmap for like the rest of 2025 and then some. So it's no telling when Space Marine 3 is going to come out, if Focus is going to expand any, because they're not exactly a huge company with all the other stuff they're still coming out with, and a bunch of other things are coming. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on there.
And Space Marine 2 has been out for a little bit over 6 months. It was released September the 9th of last year.
Okay.
I know, like on some of the new stuff they've put out, they're like, well, we have 3 developers working on it, right? Like 3 staff members working on it. Like, that doesn't distill a whole lot of confidence, but it explains like the rate at which stuff comes out compared to, say, like Destiny 2, where like when they do, monthly or every 6-week launches, it's like a ton of stuff, whereas this is like, oh, you get a skin and we maybe add a new level, either not for PvP and PvE, it's just one or the other. So
yeah, and it also seems their balancing has been a freaking pendulum. It goes way too far one way and then comes way back the other way.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see what's going on there.
I still have
unofficially. Yeah, go ahead.
I still have fun playing it, though. I mean,
Yeah, I've enjoyed playing it when we've played. I haven't touched it probably in about a month and a half because of Adepticon prep, but um, some other stuff that's coming out, really kind of limited with everything going on. My guess is a lot of companies are going to do pretty big Adepticon announcements, but I got a notification that Starforged is coming out with some old world Bretonian stuff, and so maybe there's going to be some more old world stuff coming out from them. What's really weird is most of their kind of older stuff is usually uh, logoed and kind of advertised as expansions or as part of merchandising for Total War, and this specifically said the old world coming out, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Um, some other things that are not exactly 30K or 40K related, but still kind of gaming related. Helldivers 2 is getting a board game Kickstarter. So it'll
Oh,
be
jeez,
interesting to
that's gonna
see
be
when that comes
ridiculous.
out. Yeah, and kind of related to that is the fact that Sony announced that they're making a Helldivers 2 movie about a month ago, and then this week they announced that they're making a complete redo of Starship
Starship
Troopers, the
Troopers.
movie.
Yeah,
So, and they claim that this new Starship Troopers is going to be based closer on the book. So,
Yeah, and it's
are they
Blumkamp.
making the Starship
It's
Troopers
Blumkamp.
to be the book, and then the Helldivers is going to be based off of the movie Starship Troopers? It's kind of funny to see what's going to go on there.
But yeah,
Um,
Blumkamp's the director for the Starship Troopers movie, which he's the guy that did District 9.
yeah, that's
yeah, he
gonna
was supposed
be.
to do the Halo movie
Yeah,
when that was back kicking around.
and
His one might be pretty good.
the alien. He was supposed to do the Aliens 5 or something like that, and yeah.
Yep.
It's gonna be a very
Man,
interesting time for fans of sci-fi war stuff for a while.
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of sci-fi, Mantic announced their 2025 show specials is going to start at Adepticon. So there's going to be a bunch of show exclusive Spartans for the near future. And I'm just going through some quick news updates. We like to go ahead and reference any Kickstarters that might be going on that can be stolen for heresy stuff. But
There's
for
some
the
brain
most
stuff I saw, but
yeah, Flashpoint Mantic Halo also announced some other PvP Halo guys. They're trying to make an expansion for that game. So not only do you have the kind of story of Halo, which you can also do the video game like PvP areas. That's really all I'm seeing. I'm not seeing a ton of other stuff that either we can steal or even announcements from GW. This week was kind of slow with us just getting that AT release.
I do know that the Daka Daka guys, or dakadaka.store or whatever, they have announced a new Kickstarter that looks remarkably similar to the Death Core of Krieg. In case anyone cares about that.
I'm sorry, what? Daka, you say?
Yeah, dakadaka.store.
Yep. No, I know what you're talking about.
/ war cells, CELLS. They're doing another one of their Kickstarters, and it looks remarkably like Death Core of Krieg against some kind of random chaos unit thing.
Do they look more like the Forward Death Core or the GW current Death Core?
That's a really good question. I'm gonna go with kind of somewhere in between, honestly.
Interesting.
It's definitely kind of interesting. It's supposed to happen in April, so
War Cells
we'll
is what they're
see.
calling it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I did their Roman one that was kind of Ultramarines-y.
I've done a couple of theirs. Some of their stuff really does blend well with Heresy. Some of it, however, does not. So I'm just gonna sit here and wait and kind of see what goes on, what comes from it. But beyond that, is there anything else, John?
That's pretty much it. It looks like Cromlech is going to be coming out with some new terrain and a new guard regiment in the future, but I'll keep everybody updated as we know a little bit more on that. They just kind of have previews right now.
Good. Well, if we're done with the news and the hobby progress, which is where it sounds like, what are we at with tonight's topic, gentlemen? It sounds to me like we might have Bergeron here for a reason.
I am ready to talk Destruction of Kairos Prime. We had a
Tell us
great
all
event
about
this
it, my
week.
brother.
Well, we had our big event last weekend, and it was postponed, of course, for almost 2 months. But I will say that I'm very impressed with the Florida boys because they all traveled up here. Um, we had 3 games on the first day, 2 games on the second day, about 28 players on that first day, and then it dropped off a little bit. We're doing what you call hybrid events. We've got a lot of people that only want to come for one day that are locals, and we've got a lot of people that travel from out in town that want to come for a 2-day. So we actually rig it so that there's a 2-day event, but then there are some people that only pop in for that first day, and it actually ends up working really well with the dynamics of running a game store on top of running an event where you're running a game store, because you kind of free up gaming tables that next day as you drop back, so you're not completely cutting everybody out of the store for 2 solid days. But no, we had a great time. I think everybody there had a great time. We gave away prizes on the first day, and we always do that so there's a chance for the 1-day guys to have a shot at a trophy. And really cool, I was kind of hoping Joe was going to be on tonight, but his son, who's a relatively new gamer to Heresy, Garrett Kirkus, his Blood Angels, he won the Duelist Champion. There was some confusion on Rights of War, and he basically heard from his dad that you need to be charging constantly and constantly getting into fights with your everybody in your squads that can challenge. And by God, he did that, and he ended up taking the trophy for most challenges issued and wounds scored in combat, which was really cool. So, and then we also gave out our best painted trophy that day, and it went to Rick Munzer down in Florida with his amazingly painted Dark Angels. If you guys want to see photos of these, go to the Bama Heresy page and the High Ground Hobbies page. We got photos of all the trophy winners and all of that type of stuff. So, and we also gave out our coveted War Crimes trophy that day, and it went to Paul Bowen, who's one of our local players who was playing Iron Hands. And what we did for that is any wounds that were scored, wounds and victory points that were scored with flamer weapons, phosphex, anything that could be classified as a destroyer weapon, you actually kept track of all those points, and the person who expended or earned the most points in the first day's gaming ended up getting the coveted War Crimes trophy, which was a bust of a destroyer. So like I said, that went freaking amazing, and everybody had a good time. Like I said, this event was burning the planet down because we ended up with a very rare natural tie at our last event. So we were like, okay, do we just move on? No, we had a tie. We can't just move on. So let's burn the planet down. So we did a destroyer focused event, and it went off really well. Second day, we dropped down. I think we were down to about 18 people that second day because we had everybody in the big lodge room there at High Ground, and had about 9 tables going. And we played 2 more games. And at the end of those, we ended up with an Emperor's Champion who was Levi Wainwright. Shout out. He is the head of the Florida Heresy group. And like I said, those guys travel so well. I think we had 12 from Florida at the event this week. But Levi won first place. And the really strange one, the War Masters Champion, we ended up with Aaron Powell, who's also a Florida guy. But we had a Solar Ox unit earn the most campaign points for the loyalist side, that was something that was everybody was kind of like, look at Solar Ox, you go. So it was, like I said, everything was painted, everything was amazing. We had an absolute blast, and we're already hot and heavy into planning the next event. So questions?
Yes. My first question is, how many people did you have as a total turnout?
So total turnout, we were supposed to have 34, which was what we were ticketed for, but I think we ended up with 28 total, and then we had one ringer that stepped in, and we didn't need him, but Blake jumped in and played some games too, so that everybody got to play games. So I think we had 30 tables going at one point, or 30 players going at one point for 15 tables. And then the second day, like I said, that dropped off to about, I think we were in the neighborhood of 18 that second day.
Okay. So even though you had lower number of players the second day, it wasn't that huge of a drop off.
No, and we kind of expected it because, like I said, this event was supposed to happen back in January, and we had to make a very rare snow call for Huntsville. I mean, we did not want to make that call. We're kind of freaking just in knots about it up until the last moment that Friday, but we knew we had about a dozen people traveling from Florida, and not just that Huntsville doesn't have snow moving capability, but I don't need 12 people from Florida on the roads heading into an ice storm, which did materialize. So I was glad a lot of those guys stayed. We actually had two guys that came up, even though because they didn't want to not do their Airbnb and they just wanted to get out of town, but they drove up in the snow and we made arrangements for those guys to play. So it ended up good. So, but it was a pretty bad storm. But like I said, we expected a little bit of drop off from event to event just because of the change. But the neat thing was Joe and his son Garrett were going to have to drop in January just because of timing and some family issues. And then because we moved the event, they actually got to participate. So that was one good thing. That was cool.
I am glad to hear that. Overall, how did the event go narrative wise that got us to this point, and where are you all going to go from this point?
Well, I'm not going to say too much because, like I said, I wanted to get Blake on, but Blake wasn't available tonight. And I was going to try to get him in here with us. Blake is the heart of the narrative. I'm very much the production guy.
Okay.
So when it comes to trophies and getting tables arranged and doing all the logistics that comes to putting this thing together and making sure people got Airbnbs and all that kind of stuff, I do most of that stuff in the background, designing the trophies and printing and painting. Blake does all of the narrative. But like I said, Kairos Prime, it's an aggro world that we were fighting over in the last series of games we played last of last year. We had a natural tie, so we just decided what we would do instead of just abandoning the planet was have both sides unleash destroyer weapons. You could bring destroyers and they counted kind of like a hybrid of the LVO rules. You could bring destroyer units and they counted as line. There were some specific, we put a destroyer type unit in for any army that came. There was a Solar Ox that had some buffs for destroyer type uses of Phosphex and those types of weapons. There was, of course, the Moritat Prime that you could take as your Praetor of your force. And we had a Mechanicum player that nobody ended up playing that was kind of like a Biologist, freaking, can't remember exactly what we called him. It was like some ridiculous Mechanicum type name about destroying everything. But nobody ended up playing that one. We had one loyalist player that played Mechanicum, and he was like, "Nah, I'm not going to play that. I'm going to play my regular army." But no, it went really well. Most of the missions were geared around destroyer type units and destroying parts of the board, denying access to parts of the board, and we ended up finishing the last day with a special mission where there was a suitcase nuke. We actually designed Meshmix some suitcase nuclear weapons. And the whole point was fighting over that nuclear weapon and who got a hold of it to detonate it at the end of the game. So as the last finale of destroying the planet. And that was, I think everybody enjoyed that. Everybody that came ended up walking away with their own little personal little suitcase nuclear weapon token, which was a fun little add-on for the narrative.
Ready, you're ready.
Yeah, exactly. We ended up with Loyalists winning this one. It was pretty close. The Loyalists had it pretty in hand the first day. They were up by a lot of points, but the Traitors made a valiant effort that second day of games and almost closed the gap. But it ended up being a narrow victory for the Loyalists at the end.
Okay. So the loyalists are the ones who we can blame for burning down Kairos Prime. It's
Absolutely.
their fault.
So we can always blame the Alpha Legion too, because there was Alpha Legion shenanigans that were going on throughout the game in the background. And so Blake does a really good job of kind of lacing everything in, and he even knows the players that come to some of our events. So he laces in parts of the narrative based on the players that we know they're going to be attending and what they usually do and how they usually play their armies. So he takes it to the next level when it comes to mission design.
Okay. That all sounds awesome.
Yep.
I know you've done a couple of these events now. And
we're up to 4. So we're up to 4, and we're already pushing towards 5.
Okay, so you are planning on continuing somewhat of a story going forward.
It will be a continuing story, but it will not be on that planet. I'm going to keep it under wraps because, like I said, Blake is the one that's designing it. I've got a lot of the information for what we're doing next, but we're kind of keeping that a little bit close hold for the next couple of weeks. Probably right after Adepticon, we'll announce everything. But I'll just say you can expect it to be very, very, very cold at our next event. So we're gonna explore some of the older missions. Blake's been digging around in some of the older campaign missions that there are for Heresy, and some of the actually some 40K design missions that have to do with ice flows, ice fields, ice terrain, and we're gonna try to incorporate that. Blake does a really good job of putting a survey out at the end of every event that he gets as many players as we can to participate in, and he takes that feedback and uses it to script the next games. And we've gotten a lot of good feedback on board. One of the things that people were basically jumping up and down for is they want more thematic terrain. And we had pretty decent terrain on all the tables, but in some respects it was kind of generic to, I mean, you could have run just about any set of scenarios to it, and the players are very loudly asking for some terrain that speaks more to something narrative and thematic. So they want it to feel more like an exclusive event that they're going to, and we have heard them, and we're moving towards that.
Cool.
Yep.
I know you've had, at this point, as you said, you've had 4 different events.
Yep.
You've had a lot of the same people showing up, but you've also been increasing the scope as well. At this point now, 4 events in, who is your now favorite new player that they've got their army done?
You
Your
know what?
opinion.
I got to give a shout out to Miriam. She showed up at our first big event that we did at High Ground, and she's a new player. She and her husband Rick have been friends of mine. We've been gaming on the we play Aeronautica pretty regularly, and Miriam got into 40K that route. She's always been a gamer, and if you ever meet her, she is just this just wonderful human being. And she has done a full Emperor's Children army that is oh so turbo dork painted purple. Really well done. She gets way into it with like bedazzling things and putting jewels and rhinestones on freaking everything. It sounds atrocious to most Heresy players, but when you meet her and you go up against her army, you're just like, oh my god, this is so Emperor's Children. It just screams Emperor's Children. And she has been probably my favorite new addition we've had to the Heresy, just because her and her husband Rick are just so much fun to be around. But she has gotten so into it. She actually does dramatic readings of Heresy books online, which are really good. So, and she's just a phenomenal person. So, I mean, introducing her has been just a blast. And she got hooked on the first game we did. She built, I think, a squad and a half of Marines and came in, and I kind of run a generic ZM at a lot of our events as a way to get new players in so they're not intimidated by, having to have a 3,000 point army or something like that. And we just tell them, hey, paint up a little bit of stuff and bring it in, and we'll show you the rules. And we just kind of poured over the 1.0 ZM rules, none of the complicated stuff with reserves or any of that stuff, and run them through those games and get them used to what it's like. And just about everybody we've run through one of those scenarios has come back as a player and actually been painting their stuff. So it's been really impressive to watch.
Cool. I thought that someone told me that she had to bang out this last event because of COVID or something like that.
She did,
Or I
and
thought I read that.
I mentioned her as my favorite player, even though she wasn't there, just because she is so active in our Bama Heresy chats that she came down with COVID. She does a lot of traveling. She's I think a corporate trainer for the government, so she flies all over the place. And she texted us about 2 days before the event and said, "Guys, I got COVID," and she was down hard for the event, but she was there in spirit. She'll be there next time. But yeah, she's a great human being.
You want to send
Do you
me
know
her
if
link
she's-
for her dramatic readings of Heresy?
I will. I think it's called the Ebony Odoko. It's like a Japanese word for, I can't remember what it is. I don't want to hash it, but I'll send you the link and we'll put it up there in the podcast. So absolutely.
Do you know if she's coming to Adepticon?
She is. Her and her husband Rick will both be at Adepticon, and she'll be playing in the Heresy events. Rick's been building a Black Shields army that we have opened our arms to at Bama Heresy, but it's basically a Black Shield army that uses Marine rules, but it's very much orcs. Rick is an orc player through and through, and has been finding a way to beg us to let him on the table with his orcs. But I can tell you that everybody's gone up against Rick's orcs have had an absolute ball. He's got huge school buses that have laser turrets on it that are Land Raiders. He's got squigs that are rapier batteries that have big guns on their backs. I mean, it is a really thematic army and just fun to play against. But yes, they will both be at Adepticon. You will get to meet Miriam and Rick.
Cool. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
I know there was a question that I wanted to raise. Was I know that you had to push this one forward 2 months because of the snow we all had back in January that
Yeah.
kind of clobbered us. Are you all still planning on getting 4 events in this year?
We're trying to get 4 events in a year. The plan is to do quarterly, and we're stepping it up for the next one. So the tentative dates, we haven't officially released anything right now, but start looking at your calendars, is May 31st and the 1st of June. I've reached out to several of the older Heresy players too. There's a good chance, I'm just gonna put them on blast. There's a good chance that good old Scotty Too Hottie from RFI may make his way to our next event that we've been talking in the background. And I know even Chris Pretty, who's going to miss out on Adepticon this year because of some stuff that he's got to do. He has already been checking ticket costs and looking at possibly coming to the event also. So that's what we're targeting right now. We'll have an official announcement probably in the next week. I mean, everything's clear from the store side. We're just making sure we can get to where we want to by that date, but we're about 99% sure that that's going to be the dates for the next event.
What are the possible dates again? Because I have my calendar.
So it's May 31st and 1 June. So it'll be a weekend event. We'll do the hybrid format again. So where we'll have a number of one-day tickets for that May 31st event, and then there'll also be tickets available for both days. So for people that want to do the two-day narrative. I mean, everything's narrative, but like I said, we found that trying to get everybody committed to doing a 2-day event locks certain people out, especially some of our locals that we really want around, and keep our local community thriving. And we've just found that running events in a game store, it's much easier to lock a store down for an entire day and then have the event do its own natural shrinking the second day. That way we can open up tables for other games. Like we've got pretty big D&D groups that meet on Sunday, and we just try to make a little bit of space for them because it's a business, and you got to keep the tables full and you got to keep people moving in and out. And it's kind of hard to lock the entire game store down for an entire 2 days, especially when you know you're going to have players that are going to drop out anyway, and they're just going to come for 1 day. So we just kind of moved to that style, and it seems to be really working for our area, and we're going to continue it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I'm looking at my schedule right now, trying to see if there's any way I can fit this in.
I know there's a 90% chance that I will not be able to make that because of work.
Yeah, it's tough getting right into the summer, but we were trying to go later in June, but then you start bumping up against Father's Day, and we actually, with the Heresy community, a lot of people, Father's Day is kind of a day for them. So we didn't want to do it that weekend. And then the weekend before that, like I said, we're a game store. We cater to a lot more than just Heresy or even 40K. There is a massive, I think it's a Magic release that's taking place over the weekend of June 7th. And that kind of nixed us from using the store for those dates. So we've got to kind of balance around other systems and other things that are going on.
Yeah, totally get it.
Yeah.
Yep. Understand entirely.
Yep.
Okay.
So, but no, we're going to do some amazing things at this next event. One of the things, like I said, everybody was asking for more thematic terrain. So we've already we raffled off Alpha Legion helmet at the last event, and that was a hit with everybody. We just sold raffle tickets for like $5. And the promise to the community was that any money that was made from that raffle was getting turned into STLs, and we've already had the printers fired up and running for a full week. We've got 2 carbon PLA printers at the office, and they've been running nonstop printing Mechanicum terrain specifically for 2 of our Mechanicum sector boards that are going to be completely custom. We're going to be getting some ice related terrain, and we'll be printing all of that stuff out too. We're going through, if anybody's got a shout out for good game companies that sell freaking mats at a pretty decent price and actually have some availability. The thing we're bumping into right now is we're looking for mats online, and there are a lot of companies. I don't know if it's related to Adepticon or what, but there are a lot of gaming companies that sell mats that are just completely out of stock for certain mats.
Could
So
be tariffs, because like people, they bought a bunch before the tariffs hit or whatever, and a lot of them are coming in. The United States.
Yeah, it might be it. Yeah, we're just trying to locate some. We've got one company we can go to, but they're pretty pricey, and we'll do that if we have to. But we're if you know anybody that's selling ice and snow mats and they've got them at a decent price and they've actually got them in stock, let us know. We're looking to procure those in the next couple weeks, just so we got that out of the way. But there'll be lots of fun rules and lots of fun stuff to do with that kind of stuff. And the other thing we're looking at doing is probably a week or two after Adepticon. Follow us on Bama Heresy and we'll talk about it. But we're looking at doing, one of the suggestions that came out in our group was a lot of the guys want me to teach an airbrush class just for the Heresy guys. And I was like, well, I mean, we can do that, but how about what I do is I give you a free airbrush class and you guys agree to come up and paint terrain for the entire day up at the shop and kind of we're going to do like a mini airbrush class / citizen soldier, get all the terrain painted for the next event. If you come to it, you'll get me teaching you how to use an airbrush, and we'll get a lot of stuff done for the community at the same time. So that's one of the new ideas. That was actually from Tez down in freaking Montgomery. That was one of his, or Birmingham, one of his suggestions for something that would be fun, is just to all us get together and paint terrain together and get stuff ready for the next event.
That's what we've done every year locally for the Fearix group. Is started a couple years ago, and I make burgers and everyone kind of just hangs out. We shoot the shit, talk about Adepticon, and make sure that we get everything finished up just in time.
Yep. So it just seems like a good way to do it. There's a sense of community. We used to do that in Detroit too. So I can remember a couple times, Zach and Jeremiah and all of us got together. We got gifted a ZM board one day, and yeah, you were there at that one, weren't you, Brian?
Yeah, I actually have that ZM board right now.
Yep. So that was a fun
I was going to tell you, Chris, check out what Fat Matt has available. I feel like they have one snow specific mat as well as a like tundra that's green and snow blended. And our mutual friend Jeff Crawley has a good connection with them, and he can get you a little bit of a deal.
Well, I will reach out to Jeff. We were friends.
I think we gave away one of the mats. We gave away was a snow mat, was it not?
Maybe
from Fat Matt, like a couple of years ago at Adepticon. We got from him.
I don't recall. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a couple Fat Mats. I just don't have a snow one. So we do have 2 already in house, and we're looking to get at least 7 to 8 of the boards set up for snow and ice type stuff. We've even procured a giant crane kit, so which will be getting built here shortly, because I can't have the boys at Fearix be the only ones with a crane. So
you need any more giant cranes?
So Chris, Chris, I've got a ton of cargo crate, or not crates, but Connex that John sent me or whatever for what I was going to do with the ZM board, but that would go very well with the crane.
Yeah,
I'll say if you're interested in the Connexes, the ones that I get from Daiso, I ran an inventory. I now have 300 of them. So if you're interested in some, I will part with them. Also, if you need more cranes, I have 5 4-foot tall cranes.
Oh wow. So no, we're good. Like I said, I got this one crane kit. It's actually been sitting in my deep stash for a couple years, ever since I saw the Fearix crane, or actually I think it was Grain Legions that originally did that crane. But the first time I went to an event,
they had
what's that?
This was from the Squadron Hobbies. They did they were like the importers of some UK remote control crane, but it's like extends up to 4 feet total.
Oh wow. No, the one I've got is only about 3 feet off the ground, but it's pretty, or 2 feet off the ground, but it's pretty beefy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of chunky. It's actually built more as a kid's erector set, but it's really good looking. And I think one of the ideas for one of the boards is we're actually going to have a board. The idea for the planet is that they're basically mining water. So they're taking huge blocks of ice and taking them into space to supply the logistics of war with clean water. And that was one of the things we're going to fight over. And we wanted to have one of the thematic boards that I've got in my mind is a gigantic crane that's lifting massive blocks of ice out of an ice field where they've cut the blocks and they're lifting them and putting them on conveyors. So, that's one
So
of
if
the
you don't want to do
things.
that, there's another option is TT Combat does a waterline cargo ship.
Yep.
So it's just a big ship that's like 4 foot long for like $30-$40. But
Oh
that'd be
yeah, I've
kinda
seen
cool
that
to
one.
do.
That was the one they were running the Black Ops kind
Yeah,
of freaking game on. Yeah, Spectre or
yeah,
something like that. I saw them running
yeah. I
one year.
picked
They
I
were running
picked up
their
that boat and then those cranes to kind of build a thing together.
That's cool. So, but that's the basic idea. So just stay, everybody that's listening that's in our area, anybody that would want to participate in that, anybody who would like a free airbrush class from yours truly, that is something we're definitely going to do.
Do you have
Coming
a
up here
date
soon.
for that
We
you think you're
we
going to do?
don't have an exact date for that. That's why I'm saying watch the boards. We're probably not going to be able to work that out and announce it till right around Adepticon here in a week and a half when we work out the logistics. I've still got to make sure it's 100% copacetic with work. I don't think work will have an issue with it. Wes has expressed, and the owner has expressed in the past, that he's open to doing stuff like that. I just got to make sure that we're not conflicting with something else we've got going on before I go ahead and release official dates. So,
Okay. I know you're limited on time tonight, so
so I'm good for another about 30 minutes. So
okay.
if you guys got any more questions or if you're done, we can move on to something else.
Well, I was
wish
going
I
to
lived
say,
closer.
What's that?
yeah.
I wish I lived closer because I'd totally be down for a free airbrush class and paint
Same.
terrain.
Yeah.
Same.
I mean, I miss you, buddy. Miss everybody up in the freaking Michigan neck of the woods, and I hope at some point you guys get down to come to some of our events.
So, for anybody who's interested in the Bama Heresy stuff, where can they find you at?
We are on Facebook under Bama Heresy. And if you're not a Facebooker, I don't know why you're not. I mean, I guess a lot of the young people are TikTokers, and I still don't call me talk, so and probably never will. Um, we do have a little bit of tiny bit of stuff going on, just pictures on Instagram. But the other major place that a lot of the, hey kids, that you can find us is we have a Discord server at work at High Ground Hobby that anyone is more than welcome to join, and we have a 30K channel inside that Discord. Blake is working towards getting our own personal Bama Heresy Discord up that's disconnected from the store. So just we want to kind of deconflict those two things and give people a place where they don't feel like they're hanging out in a store chat. Not that there's any problem with that, but we just kind of, Bama Heresy is very much not connected to High Ground. High Ground just supports it. So we will eventually have our own Discord server up. But those are the two main places. But I mean, the best place is, even if you're not a Facebooker, do yourself a dummy Facebook account and just come on into the Bama Heresy Facebook page. We've got 6 channels in there that are moving all the time. People are talking all the time, talking hobby progress, and it's a growing community. And like I said, mainly reach out to us through Facebook is the main platform we use. It just seems to be the platform that most of our gamers use. So we're kind of going with what the community does and not just, what everybody else is doing. So Facebook seems to be a good platform for us.
There you go. And you yourself are going to Adepticon, and you're teaching airbrush classes, basically Airbrush 101, right?
I am. I'm teaching Airbrush 101. Actually, I'm teaching it's called armor shading for tanks, and I'll be teaching that class on Thursday night. And I'm using some World of Tank miniatures that were put out last year by Adepticon. We had a couple buddies that landed a couple boxes of that stuff, and they've got a bunch of tanks out of there they're not going to use. So we built all those tanks and we primed them black, and we'll be painting those tanks on that Thursday night. And then I'll be running my Airbrush 101 class Sunday night at Adepticon. And that one will be painting my what's becoming my trademark M113 armor personnel carrier models, which I just ended up pulling the last batch off the printer before we started on the cast tonight. So
And
I am
for
all ready to go
anybody,
for Adepticon.
Interested, are those classes sold out currently?
My 101 is sold out, but my armor class I think's got about 12 students in it. I think there's still 6 seats free in that one.
Okay.
So as of my last look, so the 101 classes go really quick, but Adepticon this year I wouldn't call it an embargo, but they kind of said, hey, we've got too many people teaching Airbrush 101, and I was like, well,
So
when they're all
102.
when they're all sold out, do you really have too many people teaching it? And I think it more speaks to not calling out anybody at Adepticon. I think that there are some choice people that want to come in and they want to teach Airbrush 101 and they don't like the competition. And the fact of the matter is I'm not like one of their big headliners, and I don't throw elbows. I don't have my own YouTube channel and all that kind of garbage. But I can tell you that every student I've ever had walk away from an airbrush class goes, that was the best airbrush class I've ever had. So not to toot my own horn, but I know what I'm doing when it comes to teaching. I taught for 24 years just about in the Marine Corps. So we're constantly teaching in that environment, and I'm pretty darn good at it. So if you can get into either one of those classes, even if you can't get into, like I said, the 101 sold out and you're new to airbrushing, if you came to the armor class, trust me, we will get you through and get you going and get you doing a lot of similar things to the 101 class.
There you go.
Yep.
And for the rest of the time, you will be where for Adepticon? Just hanging
I
out in the
will
Heresy Hall?
be, like I said, I've got my other podcast that I work with, Lead Pursuit. I don't cast with them actively, but I do all the logistics for them in the background when it comes to printing and doing trophies and stuff. And I'll be helping out with running Aeronautica Imperialis for the games we're doing for that, which the trophy this year is absolutely hilarious. It's a grot that crashed his freaking airplane. So for the champion, and then we'll be running all of the LPP Lead Pursuit Podcast War 2 Blood Red Skies events, and then I'll be playing in the team tournament for Heresy on Saturday. So with Alex and Jeremy and another player which I have not met yet, and his name escapes me because Cardboard Pretty is going to have to drop out again this year. So we will be having to find a replacement for Pretty, unfortunately.
I do hope that Cardboard Pretty makes an appearance, since Real Pretty normally can't.
So we have requested a copy of Cardboard Pretty to bring with us. And one of the things that Alex suggested was that one of us brings a 3,000 point army and has Cardboard Pretty standing next to him. If we can't find a fourth. So which I told him, I said, I think everybody would go along with that pretty well.
I'll allow it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'd be fine with it.
At least Pretty would get to roll some dice in spirit. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Chris has got a pretty interesting life, and freaking, I know that he's got a leadership course, I think, that popped up or something like that for his work. And we all know how that goes. When stuff like that comes up and opportunities present themselves, hobbies
You
gotta
jump
wait a
onto
little
it as
bit.
hard as possible.
Absolutely. You jump at those things because they never come around again. So,
Nope.
so yeah, we completely understand. I just hope Pretty will be able to make it next year. So, because him and his glass of red wine are missed at Adepticon. So he is definitely one
Box
of
of
the.
red wine?
He has, yeah. Sometimes he has a box, but I think he's pretty much graduated to bottles now. So, so he is definitely one of the big freaking swirling kind of glass kind of guys in our freaking community, and love him to death. And I hope he makes Adepticon next year. I hope he makes my event. So that'll be a good way to get him reassociated to some of the community that's over here.
That would be good. That would be good. Maybe Jake can even make it down to that one. That'd be nice too.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yep,
And
yep,
who
yep.
knows? Maybe more people will show up, and maybe you'll sell out and be full. That'd be awesome.
I think I have almost no doubt we'll sell out. I know that there's going to be a little bit more competition for us with this event because the Florida Heresy guys are hosting an event near the same time. And I think there'll be some split loyalties. Like I said, those guys are amazing. They're awesome. We went out to dinner with them Saturday night, just the Florida guys, and we actually got cut off at the bar we were drinking at and told we couldn't have any more drinks. So it was a pretty good evening, and that was like 10 o'clock at night. I guess we were a little bit loud. So, but no, those guys are running an event about the same time, so I expect about half of them to make ours and about half of them to make theirs. But that's all good. I mean, community's growing, more events. It's just timing wise, there was no other time we could run that event, so to get it in. So, but I think we're going to have some people that are not traditional Bama Heresy types. Like I said, Scott reached out to me, and I know there's some other people that want to come down and experience it. So, and like I said, if you come to the high ground site and kind of see the pictures, we've got the Fallout Vault. Will be open in the next couple days. We got that thing completed, and just things like that make it just a really cool venue that is not like any other venue, and a lot of people just want to come check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Anything?
gentlemen, Chris, you were saying something else?
Nope. I was just asking if there was any other questions.
What I was going to ask as well. Anyone else got a question for Chris?
Nope, you all nailed it on the head.
There we go. Well, Chris, as always, thank you for coming on, brother. We really appreciate it and everything you do down there and everything you do to help us out as well.
Absolutely.
very
And
much
I'm
appreciated.
working. I should be able to get the little prize for you guys done this week. I've got a Mark III helmet printed out here that I'm going to try to get done in Iron Warrior colors and bring with me for you guys to auction off for Accountability Buddies on your event side of the house.
Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on, man.
Yeah, thanks,
Absolutely.
brother.
Have a good night.
All right. Well, I am going to tap out. I've got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so it's going to be an early day. Just going back. Hey, shoot, dude. My wife having to go into freaking Redstone Arsenal every day and be there at 6:30 with the traffic the way it is now, with all this no more work at home stuff, has been interesting. But like I said, I'm out of here. Thanks for having me on, guys. And anybody who's interested, please reach out to us on Bama Heresy. We are more than happy to talk to anybody. And we will be hosting many more events in the future. I hope everybody can make it down for them.
I hope a lot of people can make it down there too, because I know you, and I know y'all throw on a good show. So
it's doing nothing but getting bigger and better.
And that's the best thing. Just watching it grow is
the
the best thing we can do.
cool trophies.
We've had a lot of people reach out to us about those trophies. We actually have had some pretty high people and some different with some different paint companies that have reached out to us and said, your trophies are some of the best trophies we've ever seen. And like I said, I do all the trophy work in Mesh Mixer. I just take the STLs that other people have given us and mesh mix them all together and put them on a plinth and make just basically different custom legions. I think this time we're probably going to do Emperor's Children and Space Wolves. We are our primary two for our loyalist and our champion trophy. So
Neat.
Yep.
Neat.
Our loyalist and our War Masters champions trophies. So, and then we'll come up with some other stuff. We haven't figured out everything we're doing with the event yet, what those other specialty trophies do. But we're going to keep the Emperor's or the Duelist Champion as a regular first day trophy. And I think we're going to do some other stuff with best painted, not just army, but we're looking at maybe going to a best painted army and a best painted squad. So
Really nice, actually.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me tonight. Thanks, like I said, thanks for having me on, and I will talk to you guys later.
peace up, down, sir.
Hey, bud.
Later, Chris.
Hey, brother.
So that was the
Well-
powerful Chris Bergeron there. Thank you again
Yep,
for being on here,
indeed.
brother. So,
We have one
Adepticon.
bit of breaking. We have one bit of breaking news before we go on to Adepticon.
Uh-oh.
Oh, please.
So remember the Weta Workshops was making the helmets, 40K helmets,
Yes.
Space Marines, Eldar. I ordered mine directly from Weta, and I did the pay a down payment and then pay the rest when it ships. And I just officially got charged for the rest of it, so they should be shipping soon.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be nice to have done. Finally.
Sadly,
So,
they're kind of bland even compared to Chris's trophies, though. So I'd almost rather pay the money for Chris's trophy.
There we go. So the next thing, Adepticon. We are now at what? 10-ish days from them being in the middle of Adepticon.
Yep. Looking at the weather, because I'm old, that's what I care about. Wednesday looks to be 50. Thursday looks to be 44. Friday looks to be 44. Saturday looks to be 46. And Sunday looks to be 48. And looks like the lows all of those days are in the low 30s. So, yay.
Okay. What is, just for those of us who might be leaving a day later than you, or 2 days later than you, actually, what does Monday look like?
That's too far out, sir.
Oh, okay. All right.
What about
Does it look like us?
What
Probably
about
the
the wind?
same-ish.
Are we looking at 70-mile-an-hour winds like in Schaumburg on occasion?
12, 10, 13, 16, 16. Every day
Any
is a
snow or rain in the
20% chance
forecast?
of rain. Sunday is the only
Okay.
one with guaranteed rain.
Yay, rain.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's what I care about, weather.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, especially since this new event space, it requires walking outside. That's important.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
can require walking outside, depending upon where you're staying at.
Yep.
Joke's on you, I'm bringing a wheelchair.
So it's going to require rolling outside. We have you a patio umbrella so you can be like a convertible.
I've got my Gladius umbrella.
Oh, Lord.
I'm sure that'll go for well with the security.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it will. So Adepticon, we've talked about it and talked about it and talked about events going on. We've talked about our events.
Yeah.
We've talked with Ferrix about their events. We have talked about our events, I believe,
Sometimes.
sometimes. We have not talked about much of our special projects of what we ourselves are doing for Adepticon, but we're going to talk about that next week.
I'm not talking about shit. You can't make me.
Okay, that's fine. You don't have to. You're not. I'm not your dad. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
No, you came back with milk.
Oh, thanks, Jack. Thanks so much.
And a pack of cigarettes.
It was a carton. Get it right. It was a carton.
He's
They
a
were-
giver.
So,
Bird squeak.
so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and ask, since we're not going to be doing this one too very long, what is everybody here looking forward to the most about this year's Adepticon?
You all.
It's
For
probably
those
the
of you that
easiest
will be
answer that everyone's going to have is making sure the fact that we hang out with all of our con family.
Yeah, that
I mean,
okay. That's fair.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. It's also like the wife and I's one vacation we typically do that's massively travel-y involved, And oddly enough, she looks forward to going to Adepticon too, because I don't know, my wife's cool or something.
That's neat. I wasn't meaning quite that. I was meaning, is there anything that anyone is looking forward to beyond just hanging out with our friends and family that we've developed over the years? Is there anything special that you all are looking for or wanting to see or wanting to do this year?
Yeah.
Jamie, you don't count since you don't get to go.
Well, hold on. Hold on. I found out tonight, because my wife being the way she is, that I apparently don't have to spend the whole week of vacation or spring break taking care of the kids. But now, yeah, it's all messed up because she's now coaching soccer too on the week and has to work the weekend of Adepticon. So, like, if I came up, I'd have to bring the kids with me. But yeah, it's a mess. But something if going on with your question, the GW stuff, like the presentation, like, is it Wednesday night or is it Thursday night? Can't remember.
Wednesday night.
So yeah, everybody, and I know, like, Bama Heresy kind of thematically. We're talking, or we've been talking with Christopher and been in their discussion today, and they're all kind of jonesing on what's going to end up happening. Are we getting Heresy 2.5? Are we getting 3.0? Where's it going? Are we getting a new starter box? What are we looking forward to? That's what everybody's talking about right now. So that's what I'm going to say.
I'm looking forward to being involved in this grudge match between Duncan and Chris Bergeron from that carried over from last year.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
First off, it
None of
wasn't a grudge match because Duncan fucking abandoned my ass.
I did no such thing.
Fucking.
Didn't he go to an interview or something like that there in the middle?
He was like, "Hey, you sexy beast of a man from Germany, I would like to play with you, and then we can play this game."
And that was the one with y'all had the Imperial Fist with all the shields and the Blood Angels with all the assault cannons.
Yes,
right?
yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to playing Bergeron's team and seeing how that goes, because I don't think this year that it's possible that that we can do a betrayal, because the team game between Jack and myself, it's just so ridiculously ridiculous. I don't know if it'll work for a betrayal this year or not.
You'll
Well, this
probably
is going
try
to be
for
my
it
first
again.
team event ever, so I really look forward to that.
Oh, no team events at all.
Every time I try to sign up for one, everyone keeps backing out of it, so it'd be nice to finally play in one.
Well, you get
still
to
are
this
doing the
year.
4-player, right?
I fucking hope y'all are coming with me for that. That's why I'm building this damn table as our display board.
Okay, good. I feel better. I was kind of worried there. All right, so our team is
destroying my spine trying to apply 3 bottles of null oil over this 2-foot space.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Okay, so our team is Jack, myself, Brian, and John this year. Jack is bringing dice and Roblox, and some hobby glue because Lord knows stuff's gonna break. I am bringing.
Well, he's also bringing you, right?
No.
No, we're riding separate.
Wow.
Yep, it's okay. We'll survive. I'm bringing the army for the 2 of us. John is bringing.
I'm bringing all my Cobras so I can make whatever we need to make.
Okay, cool. Brian, what are you bringing?
It's a very poisony themed Death Guard build with a Praetor, bunch of Grave Wardens, veterans with combi L-Chem flamers, and some power weapons, and then a 10-man destroyer assault squad with as many hand flamers as you can fit, as well as rad missiles.
So should be good that y'all are basically running a war crimes list.
Yeah.
Okay, this sounds good.
I also thought it would be more fun to see versus Rampagers of Doom.
Look. The Rampager list is fun. As Jack can attest after having played with it today, it is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
It's definitely an interesting way of playing the game when you don't have to care about anything other than killing someone else, and that's all you want to do. So it's fun. I'm looking forward to seeing all of us together and doing that. I will say I am personally looking forward a great deal to hearing what GW has planned Heresy-wise this year. With all the people talking about possible 3.0, possible new box this, possible new box that, possible revamp of the rules, possible just clean up of the rules. I'm looking forward to a roadmap of where they're going to go with Heresy.
Knowing what's going on would be nice.
Yeah, knowing where we're coming to.
That's asking a little bit much, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
It's just tanks.
I don't think it's going to be just tanks this year. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb, and I'm going to jump out here and say that I have a prediction for this year. and that we're going to either see Mark II or Mark III breachers in plastic.
So I've heard it's either going to be Mark II or Mark V.
Dude, give me Mark V.
In plastic or in breachers or both?
In plastic. I haven't heard specifically what they're going to be, but the next plastic type would either be Mark II or Mark V, and then we may get something a little bit larger than that.
I'm okay with
You
Mark
mean the
V.
possibility? You're okay. You're meaning the possibility of Saturnines.
Yes. Three to a box or like a squad or whatever you want to
Yeah, that
call it.
sounds dumb to me, but I'm not a big fan of building other things that already have filling in job roles that aren't necessarily needed to be filled, because we've already got models that do what the hell they're supposed to be doing.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I mean, who knows with what maybe
Yep,
they're
I
gonna
know.
make Terminators great again. How about that?
I
know
want
that.
them to
Got 70
do
of them.
plastic glaives, fell blades, and all that nonsense, just so that people can get so salty about it not being plastic breachers, and I can laugh and eat their tears.
Well, I mean, that would fit. It would be the more tanks. You've got all the plastic super heavies, which you can knock out both the Marine and Solar Ox at the same time with them, and then
And the Baneblade has been having stocking issues around the world that I've noticed.
Yep,
People have been complaining about it.
that
This
would
just
fit.
in from the voices inside my head, but plastic Thunderhawk.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
I'd love
Reset
it.
the clock.
Yeah.
Reset the clock.
I mean, you tanks wise, you've got the glaives, you've got
Sabers.
the Mastodon, you've got the Sabers, you've got the artillery tanks,
Bombard, Aquila, Bombard, Aquial, whatever they called.
Well, no, you have the Medusa, what's the other one? Basilisk, and then you also have the ones that you said, the big one.
Well, the problem is the Basilisk and the Medusa and those all went legacy for the most part for Marines. You've got the new Solar Ox releases that came out with them, so you could either throw a Marine sprue in there if you're going to keep it at all.
Right, but it wouldn't be hard. I mean, they've already made.
I know. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
They would just end up dropping rules for them, like they have everything else in a new expansion book or version.
Yeah.
And then, as you said, the Saber tank, and then I think that's it. Well, I mean, maybe the Damocles, which that's just a Rhino with a different turret on it. So
I think land speeders would be good. Javelins, basic land speeder.
They kind of neglected the fast attacks, to be honest with you, which I've said that for a while. The land speeders, basically all the speeders, and the drop pods kind of could use some help. The Saber tanks would be in there too.
So ignoring just the rules help that those things need, we could use the like the Anvilus in plastic. That'd be cool.
Yep.
We could use the falchion, fell blade, etc. That stuff
What about
in the plastic would be cool.
The smaller flyers, not the Thunderhawk and Stormbird, but the Storm Eagle and the
that'd be cool. I wouldn't mind seeing those.
Those kits are absolute.
3 of them, but I would love more of them.
Those 2 kits are absolute. I don't know if I know all of us have built them, but if other people have not built them, they are an absolute freaking nightmare to build. It's probably the worst kit to build other than the Dreadclaw, period. Like, not even a debate.
I'll agree there. My personal hope is not tanks, because we got tank heavy last year and the year before. I'm hoping for more plastics for the infantry. I really want plastic breachers. So that I don't have to go out and order more breachers myself.
If you're going to do breachers, why don't we go all the way and do plastic termite with them?
Now that would be something else that would be cool if they did a plastic termite.
Because that would be able to be used for not just Marines,
but mech
and
Solar Ox and militia too.
Solar Ox. It would kill 3 birds with 1 stone. I mean, it would be a very wise investment, GW, to do so. But
while we're at it, let's make deep striking great again.
Yep.
I just want to see plastic breachers because I know everyone really clamors for them. They're a popular unit that people use for troop spots all the time. And I'd like to see the javelins done in plastic.
Y'all
But
ever
I'd
seen
al-
this without dumping them? Used up while we were talking.
Oh my god! I'd also like
Welcome
to
to the third.
see a new redone plastic Outrider.
Yeah, I mean that would fit in with the fast attack stuff. I mean,
You know
Like,
what? Before you
like-
see plastic Outriders, I'd like to see them not suck. So there's that.
Okay, so rules wise, yeah, they're not great, but the models themselves in resin are amazing, and I'd like to see them better on the table, but I also like to see them in plastic. I feel that anytime they release something in plastic, it seems to get more attention in the game and become more prevalent. And so that's one thing I've missed is seeing them on the tabletop a lot. So
I've
I'd like
definitely
to see
seen
them
that
back.
with command squads. Like command squads in general weren't super popular before. And
Now
the
they
drop
are.
of the box, finally, I've started to see them creeping in on more people posting lists online and things like that, which it's nice to see because that was always kind of the backbone to me of the old artwork was the Marine Command Squad.
I agree. I agree. And we can
My
talk about
wishes. Sorry.
rules wishes we want for stuff to be updated next week, but let's just focus on what
Yeah,
we're wanting to see announced.
I think from GW announcements wise, I could kind of see maybe a new Primarch, um, probably Dorn or somebody like that fighting on the wall. Um, I would love to see a plastic Thunderhawk or plastic other things that we've talked about. Everything that's already been announced wise though, so kind of transitioning on to what I know we're going to see at Adepticon that I want to pick up. Um, the company that makes Dirty Down Rust and stuff, they're coming out with some new colors for Adepticon. One was it Blood and one's Pus.
Yep.
Those will be really cool for making terrain and doing some dioramas and stuff.
We'll be getting one
The
of each of
company,
those.
yep, there's a company called Battle Castings. He's been making a bunch of old style knights and land raiders.
He's
He
local to
just
us.
came out. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I met him last Adepticon and talked a lot, and I bought a couple of his old armigers. But he just came out with a lancer, and he's coming out with the shellback knight in the future.
Oh, nice.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that come out. But the Lancer's definitely going to be up for sale at Adepticon, so it'll be cool to see him there again. Always Cruise the Bits guy, 24/7 Bits guy.
Yep. Shout out
Every
to
now and then he's
him.
got some
He's
good
always
stuff.
got cool stuff.
I remember one year I walked up with a stack of decals, and he was like, these are a quarter a piece, right? And I was like, I was hoping you could do a better deal since I'm getting like a lot of them. And he did. It was nice.
Oh, that was you? I remember him talking about that because he's out of Toledo and I used to play at that store. In fact, I lived with his
Mhm.
manager for a minute.
I had like an inch or so stack of decals.
That, yeah.
Wow.
Small world.
That's not as bad as when I went to Spiky Bits and bought all of his rhinos.
Okay,
After
so
he was
that's a bit crazy. How many do you have?
15.
Okay.
But he was like, I was just telling my sales associate that there's going to be this crazy guy named John. He's going to come up. He's going to buy all of our rhinos. And I was like, yes, I would like to buy all your rhinos.
I mean, it makes sense. Is there anything shopping wise that you're planning on snagging this year, Brian?
I know I might need to have somebody do some shopping for me.
Sure.
We got you,
We're here
brother.
for you, brother. You want probably there's going to be fancy new Adepticon paint from Monument.
Yeah, I was gonna say the new paint set from Monument would be awesome.
We can do this.
I'm I don't know. I really haven't been keeping an eye out on what's gonna be there. I'm hoping for like cool terrain stuff.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna order some more game mats, but that's probably not an Adepticon thing anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably do some perusing in the vendor hall, but if it's as bad as it was last year, that was not an enjoyable experience.
All right, Jack. Center the camera on me for a second.
All right, there you go. Oh my god.
Washed.
That's not light either, by the way. I know what that's made out of.
That looks heavy, buddy. And very nice.
Eat the bear.
But heavy.
Thank you.
That does look very nice.
2.5 bottles of null oil to make it darker.
Cool, John, put it down before you hurt yourself.
Yeah, I have to keep this pink foam on it or it's going to snap the masonite in half.
Yeah.
Don't cut
that makes
yourself,
sense.
John. With the pink foam.
By the way, I'm bringing
won't.
tourniquets to Adepticon just in case John cuts himself.
That might be
I will have I will have a full up first aid kit.
I will too. Stays in the truck.
Oh, I'm not leaving mine in the truck. I'm bringing it in just for when you end up somehow stabbing yourself with a miniature sword.
model. Yeah.
Just because last year I sliced my hand open and scared everyone because I was trying to bring the beer in and it hit a bump.
See, no matter what, bringing in the first aid kit this year. I'm personally trying to. I'll be picking up a new airbrush, probably from H&S.
Yay!
I will be picking up a new air compressor. I'm trying to get a silent one so that I can actually use the airbrush. Since I share my hobbying area with my daughter who does work from home on 3 days of the week, I'd like to be able to hobby while she's down here so I don't have 3 wasted days. And I'm gonna get the entire Grimdark paint line from the guy with the Grimdark inks or whatever they're called. Jack, you and I were discussing them earlier today.
Yeah.
To replace your AK.
Yeah, to replace my AK. Oh, and I showed the AK coloration differences to Jack today, so he could see exactly how bad these two different are in color, and they're not even close to the same thing. So
No, they're not.
yeah,
But did you ever send pictures or contact them? What was the response? Yeah, that's okay.
yeah, that was my total response was nothing. So AK can just they're done. I'm done with them. But beyond that, there's a few things that I will pick up that I would definitely want to. If they have Angron there, I'm going to grab Angron and Latara. But beyond that, I'm not really sold on anything, so I'm kind of wide open to everything else. I do need to hit Monument up for some stuff, but that is about it. Oh, and our friends over at Death Ray Design Terrain, I need to hit them up again as well.
So like, didn't Death Ray not really bring much?
They brought 40K Terrain, not their other stuff. This year, I think they're bringing the 40K Terrain and maybe their other stuff as well. I'm not for sure.
Yeah, 'cause,
They
like,
had
I
their
saw-
Battletech / Titanicus stuff there before, which I bought a table's worth last year. Or year before, I forget. I'm going to have Jeremy build that for me.
Yeah, I want to get a table worth of the stuff that we're giving away for myself. So that's my current.
Of the Death Ray stuff?
Yeah, that entire city set. I like to get one of those for myself for down here in the basement.
It's good stuff. It goes together pretty quick. The only problem I have with it is I'll show you when you get it. But one of the steps I think they have last, I think should be like third.
Okay. Well, if they have it there in the store, if they have it there at the con, I will get it. If not, I will just order it from their website during the con and get whatever discount they're going to give. And beyond that, that's all that I'm currently personally planning to do, other than hang out with our friends and buy.
well, you're
miscellaneous
all
stuff.
running events. You're going to be pretty busy. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, this is true. So,
How far away are we from the vendor hall and the Heresy hall?
we don't know.
Look.
We don't know anything, and I can't even get into the app because apparently my registration never finished. So I'm just gonna have to buy my ticket on day of.
Oh.
Ooh, that sucks.
Yep.
Well, we'll figure it all out in the end.
What floor are we on?
Yeah.
First floor?
That's currently on the we don't know floor.
Okay. Well, the exhibition hall
And
is
then
on the 3rd floor.
Okay. I have no idea where we are, but I know that we're in the same room. It's us, the Ferrix guys,
Oh,
Titanicus.
okay. If you go into the app right now, you can go ahead and start clicking on the exhibition hall and seeing where people are.
Oh, okay.
That's nice.
That makes me think I should probably download the app tomorrow. But anyway, at this point, guys, do we have anything else other than us staring at the app and doing stuff?
I think that's it. I look forward to finally meeting everybody. But our next episode where we reveal some of our secret squirrel projects and
Ain't talking
Yep.
about shit.
make sure everyone's prepped for Adepticon.
Yep. Don't forget, everybody, we'll be there. We'll be wearing our shirts that you can get your own at heresypodcast.com
I really need
from
to
our
order one
store
of those.
there. You do. Anybody who we see walking around wearing one of our shirts, come up, say hi to us. We appreciate it. We'll give you some free swag. We have stuff to give away.
And we got brand new stickers that are tiny, and were a hit yesterday.
Yay! We also have big stickers as well, and we'll have posters, and we'll have stuff, and we'd love to see you all. So come by and say hello. Oh, and we will be doing the official creator meet and greet that will be at Adepticon. I don't know what's going to come of that, so we'll end up seeing. But beyond that, gentlemen, do any of you have anything else you wish to discuss tonight?
I wish to discuss John taking us out of here.
John,
Oh,
it's on you, buddy.
absolutely. Thanks everybody for joining us for the 120th episode of the Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast. My name is John, and I was joined tonight by
Brian.
Duncan.
Jack.
Jamie.
and obviously Chris Bergeron had to drop a little early. He was our special guest. We look forward to seeing everybody at Adepticon and any other conventions we may find you guys in the future, because we're always remembering to stay accountable to yourselves, to your buddies, and your hobby. And we hope you have a great night. Good night, everybody.
There you go.
Like and subscribe, and see ya.